Yes. What's going on, everybody? I apologize for my lateness. I was watching Stranger Things with the girlfriend, and it went long, man, like an hour and 20 minutes, but good stuff. But I'm here. I'm ready to talk about UFC Vegas 56. I will bring up my screen to share with you guys. I got my stats up. I've got everything that we need to talk about here so that we can figure out who we're going to bet on, how we're going to make some money on this card. And boy, this thing is just not working. All right, hang on just a sec here. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, this thing has been a pain in the ass. I am not able to somehow get my screen to share when it's on my other monitor. So I have to do that, bring it over. But let's see what's going on with you guys in the chat. We've got my guy Brandon 9801 in here saying, "Oi, what's up, Brandon?" We got Ice Viking saying, "Oi, where's our favorite YouTube uncle at?" Your favorite YouTube uncle is late, but I am here finally. We got Nigel Lee saying, "What's up, Uncle Weezy? It's UFC week." Music quote: "If I knew it was this kind of party, I would have stuck my dick in the mashed potatoes." Group and album. Okay, so yeah, that is going to be your Beastie Boys, and that will be the Check Your Head album, if I am not mistaken, Nigel Lee. It is good to have you in here, brother. Thanks for hanging out. We got Charles Smith in the room waving, saying, "What's up?" And that's me just saying I needed an extra couple minutes. I had to make myself a Paloma so we could discuss some fights, you guys. We got Papa Chuck saying, "Fuckity fuck yeah." Quick question: Aragon Ballroom or House of Blues in Chicago? Been to both, loved both. So I used to live right walking distance from the Aragon Ballroom there. I was probably about 2 blocks from there in Uptown, right over by the corner of Sheridan and Lawrence. But now I am over in Avondale. So I've seen a lot of shows at Aragon, and it's the sound is just awful there. It's absolutely terrible. I remember seeing Queens of the Stone Age there many years ago and really not even understanding what the hell was going on. Couldn't tell what song was what. It's a square room. The acoustics are all wrong. It's meant for dancing, ballroom dancing, not for concerts, unfortunately. The House of Blues has better acoustics, but I don't like that room at all. When I go to shows now, I like the small rooms. For me, all the memories for me are at Cabaret Metro, at Metro Smart Bar, and the upstairs shows at Metro are always some of my favorites. Some of my favorite places to see shows. Lincoln Hall in Chicago is a great place to see shows. Thalia Hall, great place to see shows. Shuba's. But man, Metro is where all the memories were made. I can tell you that, man. But those are, there's a lot of great places to see live music in the city for sure. Prince of Mischief saying, "Oi, not this is an indicator of how the fight plays out, but I just ran a UFC 4 simulation of Volkov versus Rozenstruik. Volkov won by 3rd round KO. Very interesting. And it says Volkov round 3 KO plus 1,600. Wow, very interesting. So I see that fight playing out on the feet, and with Rozenstruik, he really just needs one. So it's a very hard fight to pick a winner for, in my opinion. I see why Volkov's getting the love. He's more experienced. He's much taller, much longer, and the better point fighter, the better distance kickboxer. But once Rozenstruik starts marching you down and starts throwing that right hand, he can be a big problem. And, the thing is, I think Rozenstruik struggles more against southpaws than he does against orthodox fighters. Volkov's an orthodox fighter, so I think that, eventually Rozenstruik's going to find the big right hand. And when he does, it's going to be over. So I'm picking Rozenstruik to win by 2nd round knockout. I've got a bet on Rozenstruik for the finish only prop at minus 115. Or no, I got it at minus 115. I just think he's much more likely to finish this fight if it does finish inside the distance rather than Volkov. Because the thing is, Rozenstruik kind of tends to freeze his opponents a little bit because they're worried about what's coming back the other way when they're throwing. So Yeah, I'm going with Rozenstruik in this one, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Volkov manage that distance well and out kickbox him for 5 rounds. It could absolutely happen, but I'm actually liking the fight doesn't go to decision for that fight, and I do like Rozenstruik to win it. Ice Viking saying Bootsy needs to go out for a dump first. Well, he'll go out for a dump a little bit later on, but he's been out a few times already today. Papa Chuck saying Bootsy making an early dump must mean Blanchfield inside the distance. It could mean that. Blanchfield was pretty damn close to finishing the last opponent because Maverick was getting drowned there, especially in the second round. She got mounted a couple times, was eating quite a bit of ground and pound. And I think if she wanted out, she could have easily gotten out there, but she never stopped fighting. So, the referee didn't stop the fight. But wow, Blanchfield has been dominant with her wrestling. I think she's 10 of her 11 on her takedown attempts. So the way that she's getting fights to the ground has been something that you just can't ignore. Yeah, 10 out of 11 for cold-blooded on her takedown attempts at the UFC level, and out-controlling her opponent 72.39% to 0.33%. So it's about a 217-1 control time ratio for against for cold-blooded Blanchfield. That really is something. She's putting up video game numbers right now. So even though, see, the problem with even betting that fight at all is because the line is so blown out that there really becomes no value on the props either. So it's hard to do anything but bet the Aldrich side there. Even if you're parlaying Blanchfield at minus 600, it just doesn't do enough for your parlay to have to worry about having one more leg in there. So, yeah, cold-blooded is fantastic, and I'm looking forward to seeing her do work again. But let's face it, Aldrich is the better striker. She's fought and beaten the better brand of competition, and she's more experienced, and she's bigger. She's got a 1-inch height advantage and a 1-inch reach advantage. So, there's a lot of things to like about Aldrich here if you're on that dog side. But, I mean, it's hard to not watch Erin Blanchfield and what she's done on the regional scene and in the UFC and not say that she's probably going to dominate this fight. Cole Stein saying, "Oi, liking the plays for this weekend, Unc." Yeah, me too, man. We'll see how it all goes. It's fist fights. You can never really be too confident about anything. And I think when you get overconfident is when you really do get in trouble. But when you're making your bets from a value standpoint, and when you see things that do stick out, you want to hammer the lines that are mispriced rather than the ones where you see your read really kind of popping out, because everybody has reads. And, and a lot of times when you have a read that somebody's going to dominate, it means that they're going to be a big favorite. And that, if you're wrong, you're going to be laying 2.5 units to win one or something like that. It makes it very difficult to profit in the long run unless you're right damn near all the time. So I'm trying to hammer the lines that are a little more reasonably priced and are mispriced according to how they should be priced. So that's been one of the points of the show Probability that Brady and I have been doing on the MMA Engine YouTube channel, is to, let people know that there's a way to have a data-driven plan to find out if you're overpaying for lines or not. But I must move on to this next one. And we got Nigel Lee saying, "What's up to Weezy and the gang? It's good to see you in here. Nigel, always appreciate when you're hanging out." Jester saying, "Oi, my Illinois brother. What's up, dude? I have some great plays, man. Let's hear them, Jester." We got Dope Space Cowboy saying he's ready to make some money. Let's do it. We got Jester saying tater salad. Let's go, man. And we got Nigel Lee saying, "Weezy, music trivia, group and album." Shit, if this is going to be that kind of party, I'm going to stick my dick in the mashed potatoes. I already read that, but yes, that is your Beastie Boys. Beastie Boys. Jester's seen Pantera at the Ballroom, man. Some of those louder bands at the Ballroom, when I saw Queens of the Stone Age there, man, the sound was just awful. But, rest in peace, Dimebag Darrell. That's a shame. But, Pantera has been around this city quite a few times. We got Kim saying, "Hey, Uncle Weezy, what's up, Kim? Good to see you in here hanging out." We got Papa Chuck saying, "I got to see the Tossers at the Metro." Nice. Irish music in a town that loves the Irish. Yeah, the Irish, the Polish. I mean, there's this city has got a little bit of everything, that's for sure. So we love everybody here, except for the Green Bay Packers. Yeah, and then let's see, we got David Dennett saying, so fucking excited for the fights again. Any hot takes for the card? Hot takes? No, I'm not really big on any. Well, okay, so I think a decent favorite underdog shot would be Almeida. Lucas Almeida against Mike Trisano. So right now the line on Almeida Trisano, god damn it, I just X'd out the best fight odds. Oh, and if we go to Lucas Almeida is sitting about plus 180 on the money line. Yeah, plus 185, plus 196 right here on FanDuel. And I mean, Trisano, if we look at what he's done thus far in the UFC, it's a lot of split decision wins, a lot of close fights. And Almeida's a guy that could certainly be the type of fighter, because he throws such big shots, because he throws with such power and lands big, and he's a finisher, that if it does go the full three, he might be the one landing the more impactful shots, and he could win a decision here. But Trisano, win by split decision over Giannetti, win by split decision over Pena. Then he got subbed by Dawson. He won a unanimous decision over Ludovic Klein, but if you watch that fight, that was a very close fight. Could have went either way. And lost by unanimous decision, dominant unanimous decision to Hakeem Dawodu, who's very, very good point fighter, striker. Another guy that's won a lot of split decisions, as a matter of fact. So Trisano hasn't been blowing anybody out of the water. And the fights that he has been winning have been very close fights, Klein, Pena, and Giannetti. Now, Almeida, I would say, is on par with those guys that he's beaten via split decision. And now, in order to get a guy that's, has been winning by split decision and has been in very close fights, you're laying over minus 200 right now for Trisano. So, for me, I would not be anywhere near the Trisano side if I was betting. I wouldn't be parlaying him. I just think he's in too many close fights. And with somebody like Almeida that's got a 100% finish rate and throws with a ton of power, and showed against Zellhuber that he can go the full 3 rounds and won't really death gas. He will slow down, which is, natural. And he's not going to be a guy that's going to turn up the pace in the second and the third round, is Almeida. And Trisano does have the ability to push the pace that he starts the fight with into the third round, which is going to be important here. But I really do think that Almeida could be a really good spot. I have a bet on Almeida on the finish-only prop, because if we look at the prop template here, Trisano Almeida, and I'll zoom in on it for you guys. We can see here that Lucas Almeida has finished 13 of his 13 pro wins inside the distance, but for Trisano, it's only 4 of 9. So we got a guy in Almeida who is a finisher and Trisano isn't. And then if you look at the UFC, all 3 wins for Trisano here have been by decision. He has not finished any of his 3 wins inside the distance. And since Almeida has a 100% finish rate, this is the finish-only bet means that if the fight goes to the scorecards, if it goes the full 3 rounds, you just get your money back. The bet is void and you get your money back. It's like a push. But if Trisano wins inside the distance, I lose my bet. And if Almeida wins inside the distance, I win my bet. And Almeida's plus 140. And he's the guy that's the finisher here. I mean, you guys have seen Trisano fight. He's never knocked anybody down. He's never knocked anybody out at the UFC level. And he's a kickboxer who maintains range. He doesn't really even get takedowns and go for submissions on the ground. So, I think that Almeida's finish-only prop is a really good bet here. And I think that there's a lot of value on that money line for Lucas Almeida this week. And we got Jester saying, nah, bro, Volkov all day. Get your bags ready. Yeah, man, dude, I mean, I'm not betting either side in this fight. I just have that finish-only prop. But if, like I say, if it goes to decision, that gets voided. And the thing about Rozenstruik, you guys, he's won all of his fights inside the distance by knockout at the UFC level. And in all those fights, he's gotten a knockdown. And in all the fights that he's lost, he didn't get a knockdown. So it's really kind of hard to be confident one way or another about a Rozenstruik fight, because if he lands that bomb, he wins. And if he doesn't, he loses. And, landing the big shot on the chin is, the one thing that's the most difficult to predict. So, yeah, I think that, I like Rozenstruik here in the small cage. I think he's going to be able to pressure Volkov. If he does pressure Volkov, I think he's going to do very well here. But I would not be surprised at all if Volkov won this fight. And he is a fantastic kickboxer and does a great job of maintaining range. So let's see. We've got Prince of Mischief saying, "Hey, Uncle Weezy, I'm not sure if this is in the spreadsheet, but in which division does under 1.5 occur the most and the least?" So it is in the prop template, you guys. It is in the analytics page of the prop template. So, and you're asking Prince of Mischief for 1.5. So here are my under 1.5 stats, and we go 2013, 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, all the way to 2022, and then we total it up. I'm behind on totaling up my 2022 finish stats right now, you guys, but we can see right here that the under 1.5 in the three women's divisions happens about 20% of the time. 20.87 for women's 115, 20.55 for 125, and exactly 20.55 as well for 135. And then for men's 125, we're at 25%, 31, 27, 33, 33, 36, 46, and 43. So actually the under 1.5 happens the most in men's 205-pound fights. It's happened 134 times in 291 total fights, so for 46%. The second most is the heavyweight division with 44, and the least are the three women's divisions, which are all sitting right at around 20%. So that's how we know that the women's divisions are less likely to finish, obviously. But I think what's interesting is that when we just go up here to like over 2.5 or under 2.5, and then for fight goes and fight doesn't go, that there are some divergences here, because you see the 30% finish rate for the straw weights, 35 for bantamweights, but it's actually 41.1 for flyweight. So we got to keep those things in mind. And we also see it here with for men's flyweights, 39% finish rate. For bantamweight, it's 49. But then when we go up to featherweight, it goes back down to 43%. And then it's 50% for lightweight, even less than that for welterweight, 48.43. And then it goes up as we get into the higher weight, lower skill divisions as we get up to middleweight, light heavyweight, and then heavyweight. So that's a great question, Prince of Mischief. Glad that you asked that. But yeah, there's a lot of great information in this prop template that I've built. And we got my guy Jester, who has donated to this show. Ring a ding ding. He says, "You can get money now." Yes, I can. $5, keeping the lights on for his Uncle Weezy here. Ring a ding ding, you guys. We got a donation here. First of the night on Ask Weezy. Much love to you, Jester. Much love to you, my man. We got Cole Stein saying, "Damon Jackson inside the distance seems promising. Those submission attempts per 15 is fire, and Argueta has been finished twice off the professional record." Has he been finished twice off the pro record? That's interesting, because he had the one fight in the house against Tercios, but that wasn't a finish, was it? I thought that was just a decision, a 2-round decision, unless I'm wrong about that. But, the thing about Argueta, that's the problem here, is that, he's going to be way undersized. He's taking this fight on short notice against a guy who has excellent conditioning. So we've got Argueta lost to Tercios, exhibition, unanimous decision, and he got submitted in an amateur fight back in 2017. That was his amateur debut back in Epic Fighting at 11/11/2017. And other than that, he's been pretty much a good finisher. First round finishes in his first 4 fights. 5th fight was a decision. Then he goes into the Ultimate Fighter house and loses to Tercios via decision. And as a matter of fact, I think that fight went to round 3, and Tercios got Argueta's back and then kind of rode out the 3rd round on his back. So I think it was 1 round apiece. It was a close fight. But yeah, round 3 went to Tercios, and he got that nod. And then Mandala, round 1, Myron Santos, who's 12-0, beat him via ground and pound in the 3rd round, and then he got the decision win over Diego Silva via split decision, and that was a 5-round fight. So we know that Argueda's got good conditioning. He just fought 5 rounds back in May, like a month ago. So he'll be ready to go. He'll be ready to rock here, but it's still a nightmare. It's a nightmare matchup on short notice to be fighting Damon Jackson. That guy's grappling is fantastic, and he pushes a pace. His striking is good. There's a lot to like about what Damon Jackson's doing, you guys. So in terms of the inside the distance line, though, on that one, let's have a look. Damon Jackson, inside the distance. Yeah, it's juiced, minus 135. So I wouldn't do that. I don't do those, inside the distance or decision, or I'm not necessarily decision, but inside the distance props when you have to pay better than a 50% implied probability. I don't think there's any value on this fight anymore. Argueda's tough, man. I don't know about those 2 finishes, Cole, off the record that happened. I mean, there's the one amateur fight, but other than that, I don't know what you're referring to. But I think he probably does finish him. I mean, Damon Jackson's on another level right now, and his submission game, what he did to a black belt in Camuela Kirk, he made him look like a white belt out there. So I wouldn't be surprised if he just gave Argueda all kinds of problems and got him out there. Yeah. And Nigel Lee agrees with you, Cole, saying definitely liking that Jackson inside the distance. Papa Chuck saying, let's see here. Ketchup on a hot dog or no? Having lived in Chicago, I lived on the edge with ketchup. No, I don't put ketchup on hot dogs ever. It's definitely a Chicago thing. It's mustard, mustard, celery, salt. And then I just get mustard and celery salt on mine. But then everybody else in Chicago does the pickle, the onion, what else? The tomato, and the peppers. Some guys do the peppers too. But Gene and Jude's, great dogs. Wiener Circle, great dogs over there. Where else do I go for dogs these days? Oh, yeah, Red Hot Ranch, man. Red Hot Ranch, fantastic stuff over there. So shout out Red Hot Ranch. That's my favorite place to go for burgers and dogs, especially late night, man. That's the place. Grayson saying, will Jefe be able to get up off the ground consistently? Dude, yes, he will. He's got a good get-up game when you see it on the regional scene as well as at the UFC level. So Molina has been taken down 5 times, but has only yielded 3.6 minutes of control time. So, and some of that's on the cage as well. And look, Zhumagulov in 4 UFC fights has only managed 3 takedowns on 14 attempts. So it's not like Zhumagulov's this guy who's out there getting 5 takedowns per fight. He's averaging 1.25 takedowns per 15 minutes. He's getting his takedowns at less than a 25% clip, and he's gotten 3.14% control time. So we know that we've seen Zhumagulov do this on the regional scene against Ulanbekov, in the Bogatinov fight, in the Nam fight. He's definitely out there trying to grapple, but he's not having success at the UFC level doing this yet. So it's going to be interesting to see what game plan he brings in against Molina, because Molina is very dangerous on the feet, but he's equally dangerous on the ground. He's very well-rounded. He's tough. He's got a good chin, and he's got power in his hands, especially for this division. You see a guy knocking people down 3 times in 3 UFC fights at the flyweight level. It shows you that this guy has got serious power. So I don't particularly like this matchup for Jalgas. I get why some people are on the Jalgas side here. You're getting a pretty good plus money number here. And Zhumagulov, I pointed this out last night on Just the Tip, so you guys probably heard me talk about this, but when Molina was fighting with guys that had twice as many losses as they did wins on the regional scene, guys with like 3-8 records, 5-10 or something like that. Zhumagulov's over there on Fight Nights Global, fighting Ulanbekov, fighting Ali Bagatinov, fighting Tyson Nam. So there's definitely a step up here. Zhumagulov has been in there with better guys than Molina. But Molina's a young man, he is 24 years old. And we've seen, these guys at his age, they make these improvements in leaps and bounds. And, we've seen him not have the best takedown defense, but the get-up game has always been there. And I think that that's almost as important as really having good takedown defense, because there's a couple of different ways to look at it. Getting takedowns is very exhausting. So if you're out there trying to take down your opponent and they keep getting up, and you have the kind of gas tank like Molina does to be able to turn up the pressure and the volume in the second and the third, it can be a gift sometimes to give up takedowns as long as you're getting up quickly every damn time. You don't want to be resting down there. You don't want to be putting your back on the mat, playing jiu-jitsu, especially if you don't have the ability to pull off a submission or a sweep with it. So, yeah, I think he's going to have the ability to get back up when Zhalgas takes him down. And what we've seen from Zhalgas at the UFC level is not the kind of wrestling where you can say with confidence, oh, he's going to drown Molina, because we haven't seen it yet, man. You got to do way better than 3.14% control time in 4 UFC fights, until I start saying that, yeah, he's got a chance to do that, especially to a guy like Almeida, who has shown some really good ability to be able to get back up. Jester saying, the king of spreadsheets. You're so underrated, Uncle. I appreciate that, man. But, I've built these spreadsheets as a way to be able to get a bunch of information on the same page, so that not only can I provide content where we go over the numbers on the page, but I can give it out there for free to you guys and help you guys make better gambling decisions. And I always kind of figure that if I'm out there providing some kind of value with the content that I provide, that it's going to bring more and more people as time goes on. And that's exactly what's happened. First of all, thank all you guys who are watching right now. Hit that thumbs up button. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I just got my 1,500th subscriber yesterday, so I have you guys to thank for that. And it's very humbling to be able to keep putting this content out and see the audience continue to grow, see the accolades continue to grow, and see the results from my tracked bets really kind of take that next step where I'm doing very well this year. I'm having a fantastic 2022, and it's a result of the work that I'm putting in to make the content better and to make it more useful for everybody in the community that does what I love to do, and that's bet on the UFC. So I appreciate you, Jester. I really appreciate those kind words, man. It means a lot. Ice Viking saying, wait, wasn't ketchup just invented for hot dogs and it just happens to be good on burgers too? I don't put ketchup on burgers either. I put it on my fries when I have fries, but not all the time. So in Chicago, it's one of those Chicago things, that, oh, you don't put ketchup on a hot dog. That's for amateurs. It's a Chicago thing. Once you leave the city, ketchup on a hot dog is an absolute normal thing, and you would expect to have it just about everywhere else. But, it's one of those things that in Chicago, they just don't do that. You have to ask for it. And most certain times, like a place like Gene and Jude's, one of the original hot dog stands here in Chicago, they won't even give it to you. They'll say there's some ketchup in packets all the way at the far corner of the place. You can put it on there yourself. If you want to ruin the dog, don't ask us to do it for you. So, yeah, the ketchup on a hot dog is one of those contentious sticking points here in Chicago. Jester says just once. And Prince of Mischief says, do you have a rule when it comes to parlays? Example, nothing under minus 270. So my rule on parlays, that if I'm going to track it, never more than 2 legs, first of all. And it's really, what I do for a parlay is when I find like 2 minus 250 bets that I feel like should be minus 400 or minus 500. And then I can put the minus 250s together and get myself something around even money. And then I can slap, more than a unit on it, 1.52 units. But I try to stay away from parlays. Now I have fun, like look, we got to have some fun with this, and so I give out the greasy 4-leg parlay that I do every week on Just the Tip. This week, it is Menafield inside the distance, Evloev by decision. The Silva Batalio fight doesn't go to decision, and the Volkov Rozenstruik fight doesn't go to decision. Got that at plus 942 on FanDuel yesterday, and so because all of them are minus 200 or less, that they wind up being if you hit 3 out of the 4 legs of the parlay, you'll get a free bet in the amount that you bet the next week. So it's like they call it insurance if you cash 3 out of 4 legs. But yeah, in terms of that, I if I'll only parlay something that's like plus 100 if I'm putting it in my greasy 4-legger, and I do those just to have fun and give you guys something that's big time plus odds that you can root for. And there's nothing more fun than hitting 3 out of 4 legs in a parlay, having that last leg, knowing that, if you hit it, it's going to be a big night. So it's a fun way to play it. But, when I'm doing that, I'm just doing it with milk money. I'm trying to keep the tracked bets coming from a place where I'm building a bankroll year after year, trying to win 50 to 100 units a year. And that's, I don't think you do that by having parlays with more than 2 legs in them, by having parlays be a big chunk of what you're betting. If you look at my bets, I think we could even take a look at how I've spread my bets around. If we go to Bet MMA tips here and we log in, we can go to my profile and you can see my stats here. So my overall stats, I'm return on investment is plus 6% overall. Straight fight picks, I'm even. Props, I'm plus 12%, and parlays, I'm minus 13%. And then you can go down here to the graph and see like the green line here is my props, and the orange line here that we went way down here, and then we've just been steadily going up for a long time now, is the overall. The light blue line is the straight fight picks, and then this orange line here where you see it not moving at all is parlays. So I'm really not placing a lot of parlay bets, but I just lost on a Howdy Home parlay last week, so that cost me, I think, 1.5 or 2 units or something like that. So yeah, it's parlay is just something I try not to do a lot of. I try to keep it to 2 legs, and I try to still tell myself that I'm not just putting together 2 favorites that I think are going to win, but I still think that there's value on the line. But I just don't want to be 2.5 units to win 1 on fighter A and 2.5 units to win 1 on fighter B if they're both minus 250 and I want to parlay them. I can just say I'll put, instead of 5 units down to win 2, I'll put 2 units down to win 2, and just parlay it because I'm confident that they should be more than minus 250. So that's a long answer to that question, Prince of Mischief. I hope it made sense, though. And let's see here. We got Papa Chuck saying, at Jester, I agree. Let's hope the bookies don't find Unk and hire him to make the lines. We'd be fucked. Yeah, it's going to take a while before I have an algorithm that actually makes lines, but that would be cool. Mr. B saying, Weezy, are you a fan of hot sauce? Yes, I am. Definitely, man. I love my Mexican food. Love a nice arbol-based hot sauce to get me sweating. Like my people, the Greek people and the Danes, they don't have any tolerance for spice in their foods, but I love it personally. So it makes me sweat though. Like I'll just start pouring sweat, but the spicier, the better. I love me some good hot sauce, something that really some ghost pepper or some Scotch bonnets. Love that stuff, man. Ice Viking, hot sauce is the best. Agreed. Jester saying Renat has been over 1.5 just a few times. His forward pressure is crazy. Getting plus money at under 1.5 seems like a steal. Well, Jester, I've got a max bet on the fight doesn't go to decision for Renat against Andreas. Because it was at minus 115 for fight doesn't go to decision on Caesars. earlier this week. So I max bet that. And that's the kind of thing that I'm looking for, because, when I'm sure that something should be priced around minus 200 for fight doesn't go, that's a great place to be. And you have to get value, and that's when you smash a bet. It shouldn't be so much because you think your read is right, because our reads are wrong a lot of the time. I mean, like somebody like me, I'm sitting there, I'm watching hours and hours and hours of tape every single day, researching every card. And I still get so many fights wrong. I'm still picking fights right, at about a 61, 62% clip on Tapology, so we get it wrong. Our reads are wrong. But if we can get a read on where a line should be based on the data, especially the over-under lines are really easy to handicap because we've got these nice sample sizes of data, and we can determine how many times each fighter has been over 1.5, over 2.5 to decision in their careers. And that's why those type of lines, I think, are a little bit easier to smash, because sometimes they just get mispriced, plain and simple, and you got a real easy look. And for this particular fight, Renat against Andreas. So let's look at Renat here. And we see a decision here against Johnny Carlos, right? Back in GFC here in 2019. That was 2 fights ago. But then 55 seconds round 1, 4:13 round 1, 1:09 round 1, 3:15 round 2, 4 minutes of round 2, 4:13 round 1. Another decision here, round 2, round 1. He's getting all of his fights finished inside the distance here. So under 1.5 is a good spot. Under 2.5 is a good spot. Fight doesn't go to decision is a good spot. And Mihalidis, this dude's conditioning is deplorable. He gets tired after 1 round. So to the under 1.5 at plus money, I think is a very good look for this fight. And we've got a decision win here, but round 2, round 1, Minave round 3. This one he completely gassed out midway through the second round. Round 1, a decision here against Pascu. Round 1, round 2, round 1, and then a bunch of regional scene fights here in Greece. So, it's a good look for me. I absolutely say that that's a good bet under 1.5, and the fight doesn't go to decision. You were right, Unc. Only one time Argetta got finished. Great insight on the juice finishing lines. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's what this prop template is for. It's just so we can. I've got all the numbers. I went out there and I got all of them, you guys. I did all the work. I did all the heavy lifting. There's 4,400 fights in this fight database that I have, and I've taken all that data and I've put it in here, and I've created these shows like probabilities so that we can take a look at this. I mean, this is just a wealth of information. The 145-pound weight class, Ige versus Evloev. I've got the finish rate and the decision rate, the under 2.5 rate, the under 1.5 rate for 2013, 2014, 15, 16, all the way up to 2022. I got the aggregates, the totals for the amount of fights. I mean, all the information is in one place. All you got to do is watch probability or hang out with me here on my channel, and we're going to get insight into all these lines and determine whether you're overpaying or underpaying. And then you could still overpay for a line. Nobody's saying that you have to not bet it because you're overpaying a little bit, because sometimes it's worth overpaying a little bit. In certain situations, the data doesn't tell the whole story about the fight. So this is just what I'm trying to do. I mean, I'm trying to give you guys the best insight that I can, because if I give you guys good insight, more people will watch the content. That's what the content creators want at the end of the day. So Prince of Mischief saying, I heard you say Odie Osborne's fight goes the distance, but other than his most recent fight with CJ, he hasn't gone to decision since 2016, all first round finishes. Can you expand a bit, please? Thank you. All right. So Odie Osborne versus Zaruk Adashev. And Adashev has been to decision only 3 out of 7 times, but Odie Osborne, 11 out of 15 in his career. And then over here in the UFC level, We see that 5 of the 8 combined fights have finished inside the distance, 62.5%. That's 22.7% better than the divisional finish rate of 39.82% over here, and 8% better than the implied probability of the line. So I don't have any problem with anybody betting fight doesn't go to decision for this fight. And I will say this as well, that I am not betting fight goes to decision for this fight either. I think if you put a gun to my head, see, right here, we got this number, minus 14.73%. And that's the divisional finish rate, which is 39.82%, minus the 54.55% implied probability of the minus 120 line. So it says that we're overpaying by 14.73% if we were to bet the fight doesn't go to decision here. But, that 54.55% we can also compare against the total finish rate for and against for these guys at the UFC level and the total finish rate for or against for these guys as professionals. And both of them show that we're getting an edge over the books, 13.6% and 8% just at the UFC level. So I think it's a solid bet. And Odi Osborne has taken his time a little bit more, but CJ Vergara, that dude is tough. That dude, you can hit him in the face with a shovel, he's going to keep coming. So I think maybe you might be getting a little bit of a discount this week on the fight doesn't go. If it's still sitting there around minus 120, we do know that Odi is a finisher and that he hits very hard. And I'd like to see him initiate some wrestling exchanges here because Adashev comes from a kickboxing background and he only has like 7 mixed martial arts fights. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to see, Odi get this to the ground and potentially get a submission. So yeah, got no problem when the fight doesn't go bad for this particular fight. How many times Argetta wears a half shirt? Spread sheet, please. Now, I'm going to need access to the data. I don't have the kind of bandwidth to be able to send people out to follow Dan Argetta around to find out whether he's wearing half shirts or not. However, more power to Dan, dude. If you got a 6-pack like that, I mean, I'd want to be showing it off too. I don't know if the half shirt would be my choice of how to show off a 6-pack, but there's not a lot of subtle ways to show it off. So maybe it's the half shirt. It wouldn't be how your Uncle Weezy would do it, though. So I don't know. Pat Chester. We got Kyle Kelly saying, hey, Unc, what do you think about a 10-1 for a Munoz Jr. and Damon Jackson by sub parlay I got going? Should I cash it out or does that sound okay? That sounds good to me, man. It sounds good to me. 10-1 for both of those guys because I thought the Munoz Jr. line would be a little bit fatter, but the bookies are onto it. And both of those guys. So let's just have a quick look. Damon Jackson, just so you know. Jackson. 20 professional wins, 75% by submission. So 15 career submission wins by Damon Jackson. And Johnny Munoz has a 64% submission rate in 11 wins. So that would be 4, 8, 12. So I think that's 7 wins by submission. So 22 career combined wins by submission for Munoz Jr. and Damon Jackson. And Tony Gravely's been submitted in 5 of his 7 losses. So don't forget that. So I think that's a good, cheeky little 10-1 sub parlay there. I like that a lot. Papa Chuck saying, I know Molina likes to bet on fights. I wonder if he will ever bet his purse on himself. Your thoughts? I think he would do it, absolutely. If he thought that the spot was right. I don't know if he's laying minus 190 on himself this week versus Jalgas. I think he knows exactly what he's got in front of him. There's a lot of tape out there on Jalgas. He knows what he needs to do. He's been working with James Krause since day one. You go back and you watch the earliest Jeff Molina fight, Krause is in his corner. So this kid at only 24 years of age has been with one of the best mixed martial arts coaches in the country. He's known for a very long time that he's wanted to do this, and he's having a lot of success early. And he's not some undefeated kid, that's coming in here with like too big of an ego. He's lost before. He knows what it's like. So I'm looking forward to see what's next for Jeff Molina here. But yeah, I think he will bet on himself. These guys at Glory realize that gambling is part of this sport. And, I think that you can be a better fighter if you bet on fights because it allows you to spend more time thinking about game plans, thinking about what opponents are going to do in certain situations, making it more of a mental chess game because that's important. Being able to make good decisions in the heat of a fight is something that very few people have the power to do. And if you can get to the point through practice and preparation of being able to shape game plans and do those kind of things that allow you to be making better decisions in the heat of the moment than your opponent does, and to know their weaknesses and to know your weaknesses, that's how you really get better at this sport, because athleticism and hard work can only take you so far. You've really got to, like they say, there's that old mixed martial arts saying, putting it all together. You got to put it all together. There are so many different parts of this game. And that's why I built this spreadsheet, because, look, we talk about all these sections. They all matter. Tail to tape, size matters, experience matters. And we got to differentiate how much of that experience is taking place at the pro level and how much of it, what percentage of that pro experience is at the UFC level. Are you finishing fights or are you not? Are you getting finished or are you not? What are you doing in the striking? Offense and defense. What are you doing in the grappling? Offense and defense. What level of competition have you fought? What level of competition have you beat? What level of competition is beating you? What are the names on your resume most recently? These are all things that we talk about. They're all parts of the game. And certain people are better at certain areas than they are at others. And it's the fighters who are always thinking while they're fighting and trying to keep themselves comfortable and their opponents uncomfortable, I think are the ones that are the fighters you want to bet on. And I think that they're the ones that have the highest ceiling. But yeah, I mean, I know that Molina will probably be betting on himself at certain points, and he probably already has. And there's nothing wrong with that. Jester saying Munoz by sub and Jackson by sub. Parlay it, just a sprinkle. Absolutely. Right there with you. What would my walkout song be? Man, that is a good question. I think that a classic walkout song that has fight, history would just be Fucking in the Bushes by Oasis. It's just a classic. If you guys haven't heard that song, it's an instrumental. It's on the Snatch soundtrack, and that song is playing when Brad Pitt is fighting the one guy. I don't know, but either way, classic. I think a great, really grimy beat would be Cats Van Bags by Atmosphere. That would be a really it's just got this beat that I could just see walking out to with mean mugging and just focused, laser focused going towards that cage. And then there was one, if you guys haven't seen this, it's worth seeing. One of my favorite walkouts ever came on in the promotion Brave. A Swedish fighter by the name of Anton Turkali came out to 9-5 by Dolly Parton, right? And it was just king's shit. It was so fucking cool. He did a little dance. He was just really just hamming it up. And then he went out there and he knocked his opponent out in like 10 seconds with a spinning back fist, and then just ran right out of the cage all the way backstage. It was brilliant. So, I mean, like, part of me would want to have like a funny walkout song too. And I'd have to think what that would be. But number one choice, Fucking in the Bushes by Oasis. Number two choice would be Cats Van Bags by Atmosphere. That's a great question, Kelly. We got my guy, Nigel Lee, a.k.a. Money Bank Locks on Twitter, saying Weezy 2024 and mustard and relish only for... Yeah, I don't do relish, dude. Pickles or something that I do not like, so I would not have relish, but mustard, absolutely for me. Man, I can't do pickle relish. It's can't do pickles either. I just have never been a fan. It's one of those things, man. Let's see. We've got, what do we got to go up here? Hyena95 saying there are two types of gamblers: rich people trying to lose time and poor people trying to lose money. If there are only two types, then I mean, which type am I guess. But yeah, either way, the gambling's not for everybody, man. It certainly isn't. Papa Chuck saying, boo. And Nigel Lee saying, I'm a huge fan of parlays of 2 legs, but every event I throw a 6 and 7 leg parlay, and believe it or not, consistently hit one every 2 to 3 weeks. This week is going Benoit Saint Denis, Evloev, Molina, Rinat, Odie Osborne, and Selecki. I love it, dude. Great spot. Yeah. And I do the parlays for entertainment value and just do it with a little bit of money. It's a fun way to add a little bit of extra excitement to the card, because we got our bets, but I always try to add the parlay in with some of the bets that I don't already have, and kind of include some of the fights that I don't have the guts to put track bets down on, but I've got a little bit of a read or a little bit of an edge somewhere, so I'll throw it in a 4-leg parlay. And Daz File saying Vegas was built on parlays, and you are correct, sir. And Papa Chuck agrees. Hyena saying plus 185, fight doesn't go to decision for Evloev. So I wouldn't bet that personally. Evloev is just not a finisher. And he hasn't even finished anybody at the UFC level yet. And let's keep in mind, like, he was in there with Mike Grundy. Grundy got finished by Makwan Amirkhani in 30 seconds. And Grundy went the full 15 with Evloev. So Evloev is just one of these Russians. They're not finishers against high-level competition most of the time, because what they do well is win minutes, and that is a very dominant style as well. You can be dominant without finishing people. George St. Pierre was dominant and he never finished people, but he was just dominantly winning rounds. And every time, if you had money against St. Pierre, when he'd get that takedown, you would just go, fuck, because you knew that your guy that you bet on was going to be there until the ref pulled him off of him at the end of the round again. And then when he went out there in the next thing, if you could just stop the takedown, he got taken down again. So there's dominance in that as well. And that's how Evloev dominates his opponents. I'll show you guys the numbers here. Evloev in 15 professional fights has finished 20% by knockout, that's 3, and 27% by sub, so that's 4. So 7 of his 15 wins coming inside the distance. However, the problem is 5 UFC wins, no finishes. So he's finishing the lower level regional scene competition. When he's going up to fight guys like Morozov, I don't think he finished Morozov on the regional scene when he fought him. And we can even see who like the best fighter that he finished was. That would be an interesting thing to check out. Because he fought some good regional scene competition too, did Evloev. In particular, like I said, he fought Sergey Morozov. So prior to the UFC, we've got Rafael Diaz, and that was a 5th round finish. Oh, and he did finish Morozov with 3:47 into the 3rd round, decision against Vitruk. A 2nd round finish via head kick against Nevzorov, then a decision over Lee Morrison, and then the wins that are against the lower level competition here back before 2016. So I would not bet fight doesn't go to decision there, but Ige could catch him with something, man. Ige hits like a truck, and if he winds up landing a big right hand, anything can happen. But I think. I mean, it's a big plus money number, so I guess it doesn't hurt. If you got a good read on it, Hyena, maybe you're right. Premtro saying, big week for me, Weezy. I'm driving to a state where FanDuel is legal, so I can do a $1,000 risk-free bet. What's your most confident play so far this week? Well, the fight doesn't go to decision for Morozov, or not Morozov, but Menefield is a lock, but it's so juiced. I mean, there's a lot of locks on this card that are just really kind of juiced. So I max bet Mialides, Rinat Fakhretdinov fight doesn't go to decision. That is a confident bet that I have, but I got it at a much better price than what you're going to be able to get it at on FanDuel right now. Evloev by decision, I feel, is a really good bet at minus 150. We could let's see. You know what's a good one, Premtro? I think it's moved, but fight doesn't start round 3. It's minus 340 now. Shit. Fight doesn't start round 3 for Menafield Mozarov. If you're just looking, if you don't mind just winning 300, 400 on the bet, I think that's not a bad look. This fight shouldn't really even get out of round 1. That's a good look for me. I also think the fight doesn't go to decision for Mihalidis Fakhretdinov, with Mihalidis and Fakhretdinov cutting down to 170 for the first time in their respective careers. Yeah, but it's juiced up to minus 225 on FanDuel. So I think that, that's a good bet. Maybe you want to parlay a couple of things if they'll let you parlay something. Evloev by decision is not a bad look either. And that's about it. Those are. I don't think I can be really confident about anything else, and I don't want to give you anything that's minus 500. Jester saying Munoz by finish, lock it. I like Munoz, and I do like him to finish via submission. Hyena likes Molina this week. And then Jester saying Krause kind of sucks. I don't know about that, dude. Krause is a pretty damn good coach, dude. Look, at least Krause wasn't the one who came up with the game plan for Corey McKenna against Elise Reed. When you see a young fighter like Corey McKenna go out there with a game plan like she had, you've got to really talk about some of those coaches over at Alpha Male before you would talk about somebody like Krause, saying he sucks. I don't think so. I think Krause is good. But Grant Dawson did just leave Glory for ATT. So you never know, man. But I'm a big fan of James Krause, and I'm a big fan of Jeff Molina too. So looking forward to seeing him back in action. Nigel saying at Daz Files, I agree. Just happen to do well with 2-leggers. Yeah, I try to stay. I don't have any parlays this week. I just got the greasy 4-legger that I gave out on just the tip. Hyena saying parlay and Rinat, Molina, Selecki, and Saint Denis. Okay. And Papa Chuck saying Jester, boo. He does well for what he has. I don't think I can name another gym his size that has an okay reputation. Yeah, and it is a small gym too. Amateur finish for John Gotti. Jan Hamilton saying running with the devil. That's a pretty good one, man. That song was actually just remade by the Bird and the Bee, and it was pretty cool. Nigel Lee saying Jordan Levitt's walkout song is My Milkshake by Khalees. See, that's classic. That's fun stuff. Have some fun with your walkout. Either that or really just have like a fucking killer song that'll strike fear into the heart of your opponent. And that is not Milkshake by Khalees, I can tell you that. And Adam Rush saying, oi, what's up, Weezy? What's up, Adam? Good to see you in here. Premtro saying, really like Molina, Rinat, and Odie. Might put Odie and Molina together. Okay. Yeah. See, when somebody says that they're coming in with $1,000 and they want my advice, I always get a little bit flustered because it's a lot of money. And it's you got to figure out what you want to do and what it is that you look for when you're handicapping fights, man. I love wrestlers. I love conditioning. I love toughness. And I love fight IQ. If somebody has a bad game plan once, chances are I'll never ever bet on them again. So I love betting against fighters with bad conditioning. And so Rinat is somebody that's going to see somebody with very bad conditioning in Mihalidis. And I think Mihalidis dropping down to 170 just makes it an even bigger red flag with a guy who has not been durable in the first place. Now you're going to put a hellacious weight cut on this dude and make him even chinnier. Boy, I don't know. I mean, I do like Renat quite a bit. If I had to parlay two fighters on this card, I'd parlay Renat and Damon Jackson. Fernando saying most confident picks for this card. So here, as a matter of fact, I can put that up on the screen right now. I'm going to just put my track bets up there for you guys. So I got the Mialides Fakhradinov fight doesn't go to decision 5 units, but I got it at minus 115. That line is long gone. I got the Rozenstruik finish only at minus 115 for 1.15 units. Menafield inside the distance, 1.5 units. I got it plus 100. I like the Batalio Silva fight doesn't go to decision this week. Kareem Silva, 18 professional fights, 17 of them have finished inside the distance. And Batalio is a good finisher in her own right. But Batalio, the only thing that worries me is Batalio is durable. She's only been finished in 1 of 4 losses. But Karina Silva does not have good conditioning. So I think Karina can maybe get her out of there in the first round. But if she doesn't, I think Batalio can get a second or a third round finish. So I love the fight doesn't go to decision for plus 130 there. And the Almeida finish only prop against Trisano, because Trisano is just not a finisher. And I think if a finish comes from one side, it will be the Lucas Almeida side. And that line is at plus 140. So at plus money, I had to jump on that as well. So those are my tracked bets for this week. And I've also got a greasy 4-leg parlay that's got the following 4 legs. Alonzo Menafield inside the distance. Movsar Evloev by decision. The Silva Batalio fight doesn't go to decision. And the main event, Volkov Rozenstruik fight doesn't go to decision. And let's see here. We've got, Dan saying Evloev minus 150 by decision. Love it. And then we've got Prince of Mischief saying, can you rant about Askar Mozarov for a bit? He changed his name, faked his record, tapped his strikes. Mr. Phony, if you ask me. So I saw something on Twitter, and I think it would be a good idea if I went into the DFS by the Numbers Discord here for a second, you guys, because I posted an article in there, and we might as well just bring up this article and I'll just read it, because I've never seen anything like this, Prince of Mischief, and it's worth talking about. This guy, Askar Mozarov, evidently changed his name early in his career, and he started off his career with 3 straight losses. Then he changed his name to get those losses off of his record, and then started fighting under the name Askar Mozarov. And this guy has been fighting absolute cans for a while now. But the fights that he's losing to complete bums, and then he's trying to get them taken off of his record. So it's all been a pack of lies. Fraud, it says, for Askar Mozarov. So, and my computer, SureDog is a site that takes forever to load anyway, but my computer is just a complete mess. So just going to have to bear with me for a sec here as this page loads and we can finally get it to read. Let's see. So when FF files pieces crop up, especially the ones pointing out fraud, those instances tend to be small-scale infractions for minor promotions that will have little or no bearing on the MMA community as a whole. Whether it's from lousy doctor's notes, silly forged papers, or wholly imaginary events, the result is usually the same. We catch you, we tell you no, you beg us to reconsider, and then you lash out at the staff. On rare occasions, someone with name recognition in the sport reaches out to pull something. When rejected, most have the good sense to back off because they have a lot to risk. In this specific incredible example, this upcoming UFC newcomer has been trying for years to get one over on the record keepers, and it's about time he accounts for his actions. This guy goes by many names: Artur Sadkov, Artur Shadkov, and Arthur Shadakov, stated as 3 initially causing confusion due to regional transliteration. Fight Finder administrators from the past had encountered him before from somewhere in Eastern Europe, later confirmed to be Odessa, Ukraine, even though he claimed Minsk, Belarus in the past, and his first foray into MMA did not go well. After starting his career with 3 straight first-round submission losses, The Mance won for Shadikov, began cherry-picking, recording 7 straight victories on the Ukrainian circuit, with none of those opponents having won a pro fight. Encountering opponents with any kind of pulse, this fighter fell to pieces within the first round, and after that streak, he lost 5 of his next 7. Around that time, this fighter legally changed his name to Askar Mozharov and became the man who he represents himself as today. So, I mean, it goes on, but, you know, it's not a new concept for a fighter to change their name and look to start over, hoping to wipe their career clean and hustle record-keeping bodies. For the next 5 years, he tried to manipulate his record any way he could. Mozharov or his representatives went on a campaign to rewrite history. Many attempts came in from questionable entities claiming to be officials and telling the Fight Finder team that he did not compete and therefore could not have lost. In one example, a person claiming to be a representative of the Full Metal Dojo organization, doing so from a .ru email despite Full Metal Dojo operating out of Thailand and the United States, wrote, "Hello, sir. In my tournament, they added a fight that was not there. Please clean." And it's the Marcelo Tenorio Askar Mozharov fight. This battle was not. Please delete. Sincerely, Full Metal Dojo promoter. You can see the above video. The fight was rather than was not. Just as there was no Pepe Silva or Kaiser Sose, there has never been a promoter at FMD named John Moore Bankamong. And as far as fraud goes, it turtles all the way down. Some would cut their losses, pick themselves up, and try to go to legit. Not Mozharov and his squad. So what he's saying here is that this Marcelo Tenorio fight never happened, but it did. It's on the fight index, and he got armbarred in the very first round against this guy Tenorio. So this guy Mozharov has been like this fight here. He lost to a guy named Fan Rong, and his staff contacted Sherdog's Fight Finder team and said, "I didn't fight Fan Rong. I pulled out of that fight, and this guy Hassan Atagayev fought Fan Rong, and he's the one who lost." But then they went and they found that tape, and Mozharov, who's got a big tattoo on his throat, he's the one who fought Fan Rong, and he lost. And I was making jokes that this guy has just fought a bag of wangs, and really he has. I mean, like this guy, I was laughing at his record when I was looking at him. I'm like, holy shit, this guy has not beaten anyone. And he's fought in a bunch of promotions that nobody's ever heard of. This guy's got 11 professional losses. All of them have come inside the distance. And not one of these clowns that he's lost to is anybody that you would have ever heard of in your life. Bottom of the barrel. So I don't know how this guy has been spending so much time lying and rewriting his career that it actually got him a shot at the UFC level. And he's going to go in there on Saturday, you guys, and get his ass shaved by one Alonzo Menafield. So, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Prince of Mischief. It's unbelievable, but you can check out that article on Sherdog. I can't believe that he's gotten away with some of that stuff. But, they've recently changed his record. It was before, I think it was 25-7, and now they're saying it's 18-11. Yikes. So anyway, Evloev by finish is a good stat when it ever happens. Ugh. Weezy. What's up, Jeremiah? When the stats doesn't matter. Yeah. I mean, yeah. And sometimes the stats don't matter. Look, I mean, sometimes somebody with no finishes goes out there and they finish somebody. Sometimes somebody with 100% finish rate goes the full distance. It happens all the time. But the stats kind of tell us, they can help us point in the right direction and figure out where the implied probability of the line or the prop line should be. Austin saying, man, not many rolling with Molina. I think he's a solid lock. Yeah, I mean, I think he's a good fighter, and I think it's a good matchup for him, but I don't think he's a lock by any stretch of the imagination. Krause is a good MMA picker. Yes, he is. Renat has some red flags, too. He's absolutely a can crusher, yes. But at least Renat Fakhretdinov has 2 wins over guys that have fought at the UFC level, Alberto Uda and Spicely. And that guy, Johnny Carlos, that he beat, has got 20 professional fights, and he's been around and he's fought some decent names. So, yeah, I mean, but Fakhretdinov is absolutely a can crusher too. But you know what? So is Mihalidis. So, yeah, very interesting. Hail Mary, yeah. I don't do Hail Mary parlays. For me, the Hail Mary is just the four-legger that I give out. Yeah, Askar has tapped the strikes a couple of different times. Papa Chuck saying, do you think the Carolina fight could go to no score 27-27 or 3-round point deductions or draw from lack of action 24-24? What are they doing wasting the space on the main card? I don't know. You know, I think that they're probably burning off some contracts here. But, you know, Hannah Cyphers just got signed again to the UFC today. 115-pound fighter Hannah Cyphers. You know, I mean, if they're looking to re-sign Cyphers, it means that they just don't have enough bodies in these divisions. And they're trying to find new blood. And sometimes when you can't find new blood, you just keep bringing back the old blood over and over again. Yeah, I think the only acceptable bet for Kovacevic Herod would be the draw. DXJC, lev my ass off. The three most ridiculously similar name too. What a really smart guy, I know, right? And Premtro saying, appreciate it, Weezy. I'll probably chicken out and put the money on Askar Menifield and start round 3. It's a lock. I mean, it's not a lock. Nothing's a lock. But dude, Askar is a quitter, you guys. And then we've got Papa Chuck saying the old paper bag of Wangs. Askar is like the modern day social media influencer for UFC, for MMA. Yep, agreed. Dan saying Menifield minus 135, 2.5 units earlier in the week. You beat that line movement. Very well done, Dan. I'm on him for the ass shaving of the week this week. I think he absolutely gets it done. Renat inside the distance at even money. I don't hate that either. And Prince of Mischief saying, what's a good bet for a fighter's best win condition at plus money? This week, most are minus. Maybe I missed something. Well, at plus money, Jairzinho Rozenstruik by KO plus 200. That's Rozenstruik's only win condition. I know we've seen videos of him wrestling, but I'm pretty sure somebody was like, all right, and go, you know, and they filmed it and they're like, okay, now we'll go back to striking, you know, so they film it once. Yeah, Evloev by decision is not plus money. Trisano by decision is barely plus money. Menifield inside the distance, I don't even think is plus money. I got it at plus 100 earlier in the week. Let's see, best win condition. Yeah, I mean, for non-close fights, I mean, there's not a lot that are plus money this week. But Rozenstruik by KO at plus 200, I think, is not bad. And then Prince of Mischief saying, thanks for the rant. I heard about it through Twitter and Sherdog. This guy has no respect for the sport. He harassed the staff and all. He's a fraud, getting his ass shaved. I couldn't agree more. And I think we'll leave it right there, you guys. I'd like to thank each and every one of you that came out to hang out here. We've been going for an hour and 15 minutes almost. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me here on a Wednesday night. Tomorrow, check me out on the MMA Engine YouTube channel. I'll be going live at 7:15 Central Time for probability with my guy DFS by the numbers. And right after that, I'm going to do a balls deep breakdown. Get at me on Twitter if you have any requests for a balls deep breakdown this week. I'm thinking Molina Zhumagulov, Odi Osborne versus Adashev, or the co-main event, Igor Evloev, which is a great fight. So, and then let's see here. We got Dan saying Silva versus Battaglia doesn't go the distance plus 130. I'm already on that bet for sure. Great show. Get some rest. I'll do that. On MGM, Rozenstruik by finish is plus 220, and KO is plus 2. You got to love that, man. You got to love that. And Prince of Mischief saying, thank you, Weezy. I appreciate all you guys. Thank you, Cole. Thank you, Dan. It's 1 a.m. here. Yeah, it's midnight here, you guys. Thank you, Daz Files. Thank you guys all for hanging out. So check me out on the MMA Engine YouTube channel. I'll be there doing double duty tomorrow, starting at 7:15 for probability. We'll do a balls deep breakdown after that. And then after that, you guys, the only order of business left is to stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC Vegas 56. Good night, everybody. I will see you guys tomorrow night on the MMA Engine. Take care. God bless.